Welcome to the secret meeting at Jekyll Island and the birth of the Fed. We're uncovering a hidden moment in history that redefined the American financial system. The year was 1910, and an extraordinary event was about to unfold. On a dark night, 6 powerful men began a journey in absolute secrecy. The setting was a sidetrack in Hoboken, New Jersey. A private rail car waited, blinds drawn tight, staff replaced by trusted retainers. 6 men boarded under the cover of darkness. They were disguised, carrying shotguns, pretending to be hunters, but they were the titans of finance. They called themselves the First Name Club: Nelson, Paul, Frank, Harry, Pat, and Ben. Their combined wealth represented nearly a quarter of the world's total. Their destination was Jekyll Island, a remote, exclusive barrier island off the coast of Georgia. Owned by a club of the world's wealthiest tycoons, including J.P. Morgan and William Vanderbilt, it was the only place they could meet in absolute secrecy. These men were there to rewrite the economic destiny of the United States, far from the prying eyes of the press and the public. To understand their urgency, we must look 3 years earlier, to the terror of the Panic of 1907, a liquidity crisis of biblical proportions. Trust companies failed, the stock market plummeted 50%, and bank runs swept the nation. The financial system was on the brink of disintegration. The system was entirely private. The U.S. government was powerless. There was no Federal Reserve to print money, no FDIC to ensure deposits. The country was saved from collapse only by one man, J.P. Morgan, who acted as a one-man central bank. Morgan locked the leading New York bankers in his library, forcing them to pool their own funds to bail out the system. Morgan saved the economy, but the event deeply terrified the banking elite. They had witnessed the fragility of the entire system. Beyond the systemic fear, they realized something more self-interested about the next market crash. The U.S. economy had grown far too large for any single individual, even a Morgan, to bail out again. They needed a mechanism, a lender of last resort, with the legal power to create liquidity from thin air, using public money to protect their private assets. However, they faced a massive political hurdle. The American public deeply distrusted central banks and viewed Wall Street with deep suspicion. The public hated central banks, a sentiment deeply embedded in the national DNA. The memory of Andrew Jackson destroying the Second Bank of the United States was a powerful political force they had to navigate. The secret meeting on Jekyll Island was where the framework for this new public mechanism was forged, a framework that would eventually become the Federal Reserve. This is the story of how a small group of powerful bankers secretly met to design a system that would control American currency, the Federal Reserve. The men on the train faced a critical paradox. America needed a central bank, but the public deeply distrusted the idea. Voters rightly feared that a central bank would be a tool for the rich to control the currency. If the truth got out, the plan would be destroyed by Congress. The solution was to create a central bank that didn't look like one. They needed to design a private cartel that appeared to be a neutral government agency. The group that gathered was a mix of the most powerful financial and political minds of the time, each playing a crucial role in the scheme. The intellectual engine was German-born banker Paul Warburg. He saw the American system as outdated and insisted on a centralized system like the Bank of England. Opposite him was Senator Nelson Aldrich, the crucial political force. He understood the absolute necessity of disguising the entire plan from the public. Other influential attendees included Frank Vanderlip, Henry Davidson, Benjamin Strong, and A. Piatt Andrew, all integral to drafting the policy. To maintain absolute secrecy, the group boarded a private train, heading south to the remote Jekyll Island, Georgia. As the train moved, they were doing more than writing policy. They were designing a system of control over the nation's currency. The blueprint laid out a system where unelected bankers would influence money supply and interest rates, ensuring private profits while socializing any potential losses. Once on Jekyll Island, they worked in complete secrecy for 9 intense days. Long hours, no leaks, and absolutely no records were kept. Warburg focused on the technical design of the banking system, while Aldrich masterminded the necessary political strategy for implementation. To make the plan palatable, they chose the name Federal Reserve System, intentionally boring, bureaucratic, and designed to sound harmless. Aldrich's strategy included a complex element of deception. They planned a fake, organized political opposition. The plan was for Republicans to introduce the bill first, Democrats to publicly oppose it, and then the same plan would return under a new name, rebranded as a, quote, reform supported by Democrats. Crucially, the bankers would publicly pretend to oppose the legislation, tricking the public into believing it was truly government-led reform rather than a bankers' cartel. After 9 days, the blueprint was complete. They had designed total control over the levers of the American financial system. This secret plan secured control over money printing, the setting of interest rates, and the ability to issue massive bailouts. The men returned quietly to New York, their work done, waiting patiently for the perfect political moment to unleash their plan upon the nation. The creation of the Federal Reserve Act in 1913 fundamentally reshaped the American financial landscape. But what were its true origins and consequences? In 1912, a powerful group of bankers needed a critical political shift to push their centralized banking plan forward. They backed Woodrow Wilson while strategically encouraging Theodore Roosevelt to run, effectively splitting the Republican vote and weakening William Howard Taft. The plan was executed flawlessly. Wilson won the election with just 41% of the total vote, clearing the path for the banking bill. The bill reappeared under a new name, the Glass-Owen Bill. It was nearly identical to the original, but was now designed to look decentralized and democratic to the public. In a shocking psychological play, the very bankers who created the bill publicly attacked it. This amplified outrage, leading politicians to believe they were fighting Wall Street when they were actually supporting it. In December 1913, just before Christmas, the bill was rushed through Congress while many lawmakers were absent. Critics were ignored, and the stage was set. On December 23, 1913, the Federal Reserve Act became law, permanently changing the American economic system. The new system was revolutionary. Before, money required gold or taxes. Now it could be created simply from debt, giving immense power to the new central bank. This shift allowed massive government expansion and easy war funding, fundamentally altering the scale of government operations and spending. The consequence was long-term, structural inflation. Over time, the dollar lost the vast majority of its purchasing power. Inflation became a hidden, constant tax. What once bought 10 loaves of bread now buys less than one, eroding the value of savings silently. This created a powerful effect. Those closest to the newly created money, banks, governments, and corporations, benefit first, gaining purchasing power before prices fully rise. Ordinary people receive money later, when prices are already higher. This dynamic drives rising asset prices and accelerating wealth inequality, as housing and stocks outpace wages. Boom and bust cycles became more frequent. Each crisis led to more money printing and bailouts, creating a bigger bubble than the last. The Federal Reserve targets 2% inflation, calling it stability, but this quietly cuts purchasing power in half over just a few decades. Saving alone is no longer a viable strategy. The system is trapped by explosive debt, raise interest rates and collapse the economy, or print money and weaken the currency. There is no easy exit. As debt explodes and the currency weakens, this complex system, born from a political maneuver over a century ago, is reaching its structural limits. Welcome. We're exploring alternatives to the current centralized currency systems that govern our economies today. While the current system has shaped our world for over a century, alternatives and methods for personal independence do exist. The events of 1913 fundamentally shaped the modern world, leading to money being controlled by systems rather than physical limits. We will look at 3 main areas for independence: traditional assets like gold, digital innovations like Bitcoin, and personal financial independence. Gold has historically been the countermeasure to government-issued currencies, and it remains a vital alternative. Physical gold remains outside the conventional banking system, offering a hedge against institutional instability. Unlike fiat currency, gold cannot be easily printed or controlled by any central authority, preserving its scarcity and value. Bitcoin is a modern, digital alternative designed to function completely outside of traditional centralized control. This innovative system was specifically designed to operate without a central bank or single point of failure, offering true decentralization. Bitcoin features a strictly limited supply, transparent rules, and inherent resistance to manipulation, making it a unique asset. Beyond assets, building personal independence is crucial for reducing reliance on the overall system. Reducing debt and owning tangible, income-generating assets strengthens your personal balance sheet and financial resilience. Developing valuable, marketable skills is a key asset that reduces reliance on any single employer or unstable economic conditions. In times of financial stress and uncertainty, it's essential to know how to navigate the current climate effectively. Like all systems, the centralized financial structure faces pressure over time. Today's instability may signal a period of reform or replacement. Regardless of future changes, understanding how the current system operates is the fundamental first step to navigating it successfully. While the path forward remains uncertain, taking proactive steps in assets and independence is key. Thank you for exploring these alternatives. Stay informed, stay prepared, and take control of your financial future.